Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second day of Cyber Week 2020. We're thrilled to have you all with us here. We're thrilled to be Cyber Weeking again for the 22nd time. And we're glad that so many people familiar and new have joined us, and we hope that those who are joining us now stick around for a few years. These are really, really interesting times to conduct Cyber Week. All at once, the entire world has met the online. The entire world of traditional dispute resolution has met online practice. And all of a sudden, even when you go beyond simple replication of traditional mediation or arbitration processes online, when you go even beyond that, everybody's starting to realize, I think, a little more, the immense impact of data on our lives. And as we start to consider the impact of data on our lives, you know, it on the one hand, it sounds really good that, hey, there's all that data out there and we can access it, and perhaps others can access it to help us in a beneficial way. But on the other hand, the moment we start talking about data, there are, of course, all sorts of concerns as to who has that data and what do they do with it. And people using our data are not always using it to benefit us. And that is just, I'm saying that not in order to steal the show from today's presentation, but just to say that I think that over the past few months, everybody is becoming more and more aware of the issue of the extent to which this issue plays a role in our life. And as we bring that into our professional activities, you know, we're not only responsible for ourselves, we're responsible for our processes, for our clients, and for everything that goes on in dispute resolution under our auspices. So with that, I'd like to turn the stage over to Zbynek. First, I'd like to introduce Zbynek Loebl, and then turn the stage over to him. Zbynek has been a fellow of the National Center for Technology and Dispute Resolution, I think, since there were fellows for the National Center of Technology and Dispute Resolution. He is from and in the Czech Republic. He has been an attorney dealing with IT and technology issues forever. And in the dispute resolution field in particular, he is a domain name dispute panelist, and I believe, Zbynek, if I'm not mistaken, you also set up a panel or an institution that handles domain name disputes.
Yes, yeah. Actually, I set up a company, a startup a few years ago. Now I think it's like 9 years ago already, which is called Justice. But this was one of the first experiments on cross-border consumer online dispute resolution. But actually, it failed. So I left Justice 4 years ago, and I was thinking what about my experiences, about what I learned being in Justice. And actually, Open ODR is a result of my thinking over the past 4 years. So so I guess I can start presenting. Yeah.
Take it away, Open ODR. We see the title.
Okay, great.
Go ahead.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So that's fine. And this is Open ODR is just something which is in the very beginning, although I have been thinking and preparing it for the past 4 years. Yeah. Actually, as Noam said, as we all know, the future of dispute resolution will look differently than today. Today, we just see glimpses of the future. And it is now very clear that the future of dispute resolution will be mostly digital. It will be based on online processes and processes which will be data-driven with the use of machine learning, which means basically artificial intelligence, mathematical modeling. And in this respect, it actually will be very important. Who controls the data? Important for the future justice because basically if I believe, and this is what I came to, this is a conclusion which I came to, that actually the more central the control of data is, more centralized, the more risks there are to the independence of judges, to the independence of humans, not only judges, but humans involved in the resolution of dissatisfaction, resolution of disputes. There are many, there are plenty of examples where the machine learning and the mathematical modeling is positive, and there are also growing number of the the bad examples. Yeah, and I think that there is a real risk that if there is no alternative to the centralized, growing centralized control of ODR related data, then the risks to the independence of the justice system will grow. That's at least my conclusion. So so that's why I actually came up with the idea, with the concept of Open ODR. But it's not just myself, although I probably came as the first person about it. But actually, there is actually a slowly growing group of people and even institutions at the moment, mostly academic institutions and mostly Europe, which actually support this concept. Well, basically, the concept is relatively simple. The idea behind the Open ODR is relatively simple, and it is how to create a complementary alternative to the current more and more centralized control of ODR-related data. And we believe that this is by sharing the data between the data generators. And in ODR, most of the data generators are actually us people. So the concept of Open ODR is based on the sharing of data, of anonymized data, because we believe it is not necessary to share personal data or pseudonymized data. But the sharing is actually with something which we call an online ODR environment. And the online ODR environment is actually a new layer, let's say, which sometimes is called commons. Yes, online commons. This is an online environment designed and built in public interest. Which in the case of Open ODR will provide public services again to the data generators, meaning to us people. So that's basically that's the basics of the concept of Open ODR. We believe that the sharing of data must be voluntary, that the ODR data need not be like real data. They can be anonymized data. Yeah, and we also think that the data generators, meaning people, should be able to share their own data with third parties, including the centralized controllers of the current centralized controllers of ODR, of most of ODR related data, like the biggest internet company. But they will not be able to share the data from the Open ODR environment, the general data basically. And of course, they will need to be security safeguards. And there will need to be minimum new self-governance and state regulatory supervision. Again, the self-governance, minimum self-governance will relate to the organization of the system of the so-called commons. That means the open ODR environment. I think that, or we believe there should be 3 layers of the Open ODR. It's the access layer, integration layer, and the AI layer. Again, the AI layer can be called the commons of Open ODR. The access layer is really a layer for accessing ODR system in any language, anywhere in the world. The integration layer is for flexibly implementing the various ODR platforms for different needs, different perspectives, anywhere in the world again. And the AI layer is for, as I said, for providing public services based on machine learning. So let's speak about the access layer. The access layer, the product of the access layer may be simply a new mobile app, yeah, which will enable I would say, a mobile app combined with a personal server. And it should enable access to the dispute resolution basically, as I said, anywhere in the world, very easily, etc. It should enable also a bigger control of the users of such new applications, which we call PCTs, personal communication tools. And the PCTs will achieve the bigger control of the data by communicating only with invited third parties. So, and also under the terms at least negotiated, even though basically there is a huge asymmetry of powers. But there will be the idea that the data generators will actually be first parties, which will invite the third parties for communication. So again, as you see, this is basically an alternative to the current system, where it is mostly the other way around. And there will be additional supplementary services which will be possible to use through the PCT, like basically looking at the reputation indexes of the different vendors or service providers. Then the integration layer will actually be something like a virtual 4D open model of standard dispute resolution processes. So like we know 4D from industry processes, and but so far we have not seen 4D models for dispute resolution processes. And this is what Open ODR plans to do, is to start open models, 4D models of the standard processes of online dispute resolution. Models which will be very flexible, open, based on published specifications and standards, and which will be able to grow basically forever. And then there is the AI layer, or the commons of the Open ODR, which will provide AI-based services. And we believe that the initial services with which Open ODR may start, or the first project may start, will be the reputation indexes, which I mentioned, then basically the negotiation robo-support for people, basically in negotiating about dissatisfactions or disputes. then basically this is the data exchange or data sharing protocol, and AI supported multilinguality. So this is just a fraction of services, but there may be plenty of other services. But we believe that these other services may be basically subject to other projects, other initiatives, which will cooperate with the Open ODR, or not cooperate, just use the published specifications, which will be one of the outcomes of the first project. So as I mentioned, the outcomes of Open ODR, the outcomes of the access layer will be basically the mobile apps, and in combination with new types of servers, personal servers, and the outcomes of the integration layer we call ODR machine. That's basically a machine to produce ODR platform. This is the 4D model of standard ODR processes I talked about. Again, it will be based on open published specifications. And basically, the outcomes of the AI layer will be the services. Well, and that's it basically. We are now a very informal group of people. I submitted to the Cyber Week also a concept of ODR, a paper, and at the end of the paper, there is a list of the individual supporters and also supporting organizations. So that there you can see who is now behind the initiative, and the supporters grow actually. This autumn we participate in a number of conferences where we present about Open ODR, and probably either still this year or in the very beginning of next year, we will set up a website, and we will start, actually we already start preparing first projects. So basically, this is totally open initiative at the moment, extremely informal. So if you are interested to join, to share the info, and etc., we would be very happy. And just what you need to do, just send me an email. So I would stop here actually, and I will be very happy to respond to any questions which you may have. Yeah.
So
yeah.
when the AI gets built, is that from modular data? For example, do you envision like I read a white paper, I forget who wrote it, about AI and sort of building a system and moving forward. And what they sort of proffered was the idea that modules around certain types of disputes would get built, and then those modules would sort of start to self-refine as the AI got smarter, and then come up with some general resolution types or some funneling of disputes into different types of resolutions based on different criteria, different things raised by the parties. I mean, is that sort of how the AI is going to get built?
Well, this is one possibility of the AI. Yeah, AI is basically, if I would say, and I am not a mathematician. I am from a mathematical family, but I am a lawyer, not mathematics. But I think that AI is basically something like machine learning. Yeah, but actually, we believe that actually there is a danger the machine resolving our disputes. Yeah. So the danger is because basically the machine is too simple. It's not so complex as as us, and this may be extremely dangerous. Yeah, because this is why basically the Open ODR has been created. Yeah. So our aim is not to create something like a super AI which will model all types of dispute resolution and decide them. Yeah, just the opposite. This is what Open ODR plan to prevent, actually. And we believe that the only way how to prevent it, because we see that basically the growing and growing centralization of data, including ODR related data. So we believe that the only possibility how to prevent it is to create an alternative of decentralized control of the data. Yeah. So basically the open ODR environment or the commons which will provide services in public interest, which will assist people. And it will not assist the like centralized super brain in the cloud, but it will advise me or you basically in resolving your everyday dissatisfaction. And the public services in the commons, basically in the Open ODR environment, will not be controlled by any central entity. Yeah, it will be controlled by everybody who shares, who basically participates in the Open ODR environment, but they will control only very little fraction or very limited fraction of the Open ODR environment. And the services will be limited. We basically, we at the moment, we really believe, and the project is in the beginning, but as I said, I have been working on it for some time, and the other people joined me like a few months or almost a year ago. And so these are basically at the moment, the first services we think the commons of Open ODR will provide. And
I have
that's
a
it.
question.
Yeah,
I looked at your white paper that you attached,
yeah,
and I was interested in the DID. My understanding, this is a form of blockchain technology where you have distributed individual, like you're trying to decentralize by having some kind of way of tracking participation and agreements to terms, but at decentralized. Could you say something about that?
yeah, yeah. Although I will not say a lot. So no, the DID is an interesting concept. Yeah, it's now being developed by W3C, and it's still just a concept. But we really will develop this Open ODR. Yeah, and so of course we look now at we prepare the first project, and we look at the current existing technology which we can use. We of course, because this would make our life much easier. Yeah, well, so DID is just one possibility of the technology. Yeah, and at the moment I really don't know. I think that it's an interesting concept, and the ideas behind DID are relatively similar to what we want to achieve. But at the moment,
Distributed identity.
yeah, but and blockchain. Yeah, but at the moment this is just one option. Yeah, and in and again, I am not speaking. I am not a technology engineer. Yeah, so I cannot give you the exact details. but the technology engineers in our team, and we are having really top engineers and architects, some from Europe, some from US. So they look at it. And at the moment, I cannot say that we will be using BID.
Is the ODR information, the data exchange formats stabilized? Like what information we passed from one service to another? Is that in a stable format?
Well, that's, I hope it will be, well, let's say in like 2 to 3 years when we develop it. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's basically, I think a very exciting thing is that this is something, I think that we are one of the first projects of this type. Yeah, and that's basically, I say it to invite you to participate actively. So, yes, that's true. But we need to do, we need to design and then develop appropriate data exchange, yeah, or data sharing protocol. Yeah, and it's very interesting that there are first discussions in different fields, like in healthcare, for example, yeah, and in US, so what is very interesting is that it is a possibility that if we go forward, and really Open ODR is in the very beginning, that there may be cross-domain synergies. Yeah, that basically, and this is how we want to proceed, that any specifications which we will prepare will take care of the cross-domain opportunity. Yeah, and we basically are now trying to be in touch with people from other areas like the healthcare, which try to do the same thing. At the moment, we are in touch with such people from US and from EU. Yeah, but again, that's basically just the beginning.
Zbynek, this is Jeff. It's good to see you.
Hello, Jeff. Good to see you. Hello.
I'm very active in this whole field of digital identity. The ODR community is not paying attention to it at all. It's a very significant area. It's much further along. You know, W3C is just the standard side of it. It's one of a half a dozen groups working on the standards.
Yeah.
And frankly, at this point, the standards are coming from industry, which is really sort of the wrong place for it to come from. That's what happened with digital signatures, and it turned into a mess in digital signatures. So I'm glad that you're driving this path forward. But many of the issues that you're talking about in terms of the data transmission, the interoperability between systems have been addressed, and the technology is there. The missing piece, or what you're calling the protocols, is the governance side of it. That's where I've ended up sitting in the room. It's the governance piece, how you make the technology work, and how you're going to establish the trustworthiness of each item that is being put into the system. Because, you know, I mean, that's, you got to basically build a civil notary system into the functionality of this. Otherwise, it's garbage in, garbage out. I don't have your paper. I'm not sure where to look at it, but I'll definitely connect with you. And I put in the chat, sovereign.org is an easy place to go and take a look at the Identity for All work. And there's all kinds of links and white papers and everything else for anybody who's interested in the technology. Like
Yeah.
you, I'm on the edge of the technology, but just looking in.
Yeah, that's good. So we are on the same boat, Jeff. I am on the same boat. But basically, yes, I agree with you. I would just like to say that that if we want to build these systems, and we really want to build the systems, then we need to then actually the architecture and the design of the technology is very important. Yeah, yeah, but you are right. The data sharing protocols are basically just rules of communication between systems.
Zbynek, could I ask a devil's advocate question?
Yeah.
So this isn't all about us, but just the same, it's election day here in the United States, and you can see my Don't Panic t-shirt. I'm trying to spread those good vibes. But, if we've learned anything, and not only the US, but if we've learned anything over the past 4 years, it's just how easy in the circumstances that you opened up with of the asymmetry of power between those who have data and those who do not, just how easy it is for our data to be used against us. And I'm not, going full on paranoid and saying anytime anyone mentions the word data, that means, that there's danger. But, anytime you take data that essentially used to be private, such as dispute resolution information, and now we're talking about making it just a bit more accessible, a bit more public. And even though there are protocols for anonymizing it and perhaps aggregating it, the moment you open a door, I'm wondering what could happen, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
How might this end up serving those with data power even more than it did in the past?
Yeah. No, of course, this is the central question. No, and that's this is and if you read everybody, if you read the concept, there is a whole part related to your question. Well, yes, the issue is that that it seems that actually it is possible to create a system. Simple system with simple rules, which should prevent this to happen. One issue is that actually that the users will actually control the anonymization of their data. So that means, but that's not enough. Yeah, because even the data inferences, that means the anonymized data, can actually can at present are actually the data which are being used by the AI tools, centralized AI tools, etc. Yeah. So I think, and this will be, I do not have a full answer to you, Noah. So this will be, this we will need to research. This will be part, like a key part of our initial year or 2 years of the first project. Now, I believe that it by combination of the technology and rules actually, the organization rules, like for example, limiting actually the amount of even the like anonymized services which a user can receive. Yeah. That by that, basically by constructing the public services in public interest, under public control, that we can achieve it. And I would like to stress one thing. Really, Open ODR is not about designing a building like a super public system for public services, for comprehensive public services, etc. Just the opposite. We really believe that it is now necessary to create a complementary alternative to what we have today. Complementary alternative. Yeah. And so that's why actually Open ODR will be really very minimum. Yeah. But basically we believe that it is something necessary which we should do.
I think the ODR machine sounds like something I want to be part of. I'm guessing it sounds like it would be like Modria modular. There would be case assessment, there would be negotiation, there would be mediation, there'd be arbitration modules that would be able to fit into different contexts. Is that the vision?
Yeah, exactly. And it will be totally open. So that means that it will grow and grow. Yeah. It will be like basically like a standardized 4D model, which will be very flexible and open. Yeah, it will be like I discussed that one in the US there is a great expert in healthcare, basically Adrian Gropper, and so he's not an ODR person. But he's a great expert in healthcare and in technology for healthcare and in people empowerment in healthcare. And he basically talks about like when we talked, he mentions that actually most medical processes are labeled. Yeah. So basically, yeah, there are labels for everything in healthcare. Yeah. So basically, that means that when a nurse is dealing with a process, so or a treatment from a different hospital or something like that, because of the labels, the personnel, the nurses, the doctors, they see basically and they understand the processes and the treatment. And I believe that we need to build something similar in online dispute resolution. Yeah, and this is the ODR machine.
I hope it's better than my healthcare records talking to each other. I have multiple sources of truth for my medical records.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Again, as I said, we are in the very beginning, but basically it's now time to for people who are interested in parts of it or in the concept to get together. Good. So basically, if there are no questions, no more questions, again, basically, if you are interested, if you have any other questions, etc., please email me. I hope you will hear from us, even if you do not hear, even if you do not email me. We would like to set up the website and work on it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Zbynek. This is fascinating. And I think that there are many people in the room, or the many people in this room that I know. You had us at Open, right? I mean, the moment we're talking about something, sure, it is standardized and it is organized to match, but it is also something that is open and available, that involves sharing, that involves cooperation. That is not only the content of a lot of what we do, it's the spirit of at least part of what we do. So it was thrilling to hear of these notions. I'll just comment that Zbynek's white paper on this topic is available on the Cyber Week agenda page. And you can go and read it. This video will also be available there probably by the end of the day, depending on how fast Zoom works on that. I'd like to thank you all for coming. Zbynek, thank you so much. This is wonderful. Today during the rest of Cyber Week, we're going to deal with other topics. ODR is so much. So we were talking about Open ODR as one topic of ODR, and the next 2 or 3 talks today are on absolutely different topics, but yet still very recognizable under the same umbrella of ODR. We have a talk today on accessibility in ODR, which is not something that would be a bad idea to standardize in the spirit of what you've been saying, Zbynek. Yeah. There'll be a session with Amy Schmitz on online arbitration. And towards the end of the day, I think that it's at 4 o'clock Pacific time, a session with Colin Rule and Claire Fowler. Those of you who have not yet gotten into the actual practice of online, say video-based or some other base of online mediation. So some of the nuts and bolts of doing that. Check in on the Cyber Week agenda on www.odr.info and join us for the rest of the Cyber Week activities. I'll remind you all that on Thursday evening or Thursday night US time, we also have a social hour where we'll have time to get to know each other beyond the one person speaks, we all discuss and ask questions, but wait, who's the guy in the room with us and who is that woman with the interesting opinions and so on. So I hope you'll all join us for that. And now I'm going to wait a second to see if anyone has anything to add. And without further ado, thank you so much, Zbynek.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye-bye. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks. Best wishes. Thank you.